There has been much talk about when exactly The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild takes place in the timeline. However, let's talk about the game individually to see what kind of a story Breath of the Wild is trying to tell. In many ways, the game is breaking past conventions of Zelda. So what is the story of the Breath of the Wild? Well, it just might be something rather beautiful. In the beginning of the Breath of the Wild, we see Link awakening from this location, known as the Resurrection Chamber. Interestingly, in the same room we find the Sheikah Slate. A strange voice then calls out to Link to save Hyrule once again. This phrase implies that this voice, whoever it is, knows that Link has attempted to save Hyrule once before. Later on in the gameplay, we know that he was asleep for about 100 years. So from this we can determine that prior to this time period, Link was known as a hero, but for some reason, he was laid to rest in the Resurrection Chamber. But why? Notice the term, resurrection, meaning rising from the dead. It may be a stretch, but did Link actually die? Did someone place his body in the Resurrection Chamber to be, well, resurrected? Well, it may be a possibility. This could explain how Link shows signs of memory loss. In the same cutscene, the mysterious voice says, Try to remember. You have been asleep for the past 100 years. When the beast regains its true power, this world will face its end. Could it be that Link, prior to these 100 years, suffered death? Now, how exactly we do not know for certain, but his body was placed in the Resurrection Chamber to be awakened. Now, was the Sheikah Slate placed inside of the chamber for the same purpose, to await Link's revival? But what about Calamity Ganon? If 100 years has passed, why hasn't he already destroyed the world? An explanation resides in these pillars surrounding Hyrule Castle. Notice they point towards the interior, and they also sport similar technological designs of the Sheikah. Could it be that the Sheikah imprisoned Calamity Ganon? Did they temporarily seal him off to buy time for Link to be resurrected from the dead? Now, if we subscribe to the notion that Link somehow died and was revived, his case of memory loss would make sense. Now, this is where we come across the old man. Interestingly, he waits outside of the Resurrection Chamber, possibly to await the revival of Link. There is speculation whether or not he is actually the King of Hyrule, but regardless, he says a few interesting phrases. When speaking about the mysterious voice Link hears, the old man says, Did you happen to recognize the voice at all? In which Link replies, No. I see. Well, then that is a shame. I assume that you caught full sight of that atrocity swarming around the castle. That is the Calamity Ganon. It brought ruin and corruption upon the kingdom of Hyrule 100 years ago. So from the information presented, the story of the Breath of the Wild may go like this. Calamity Ganon ran his rampage across Hyrule. Link might have tried to stop him, but somehow died in the process. Someone, perhaps the old man or Princess Zelda herself, placed the body of Link inside of the Resurrection Chamber to be revived in the future. In the meantime, the Sheikah gathered together and sealed Calamity Ganon inside Hyrule Castle using these pillars. Knowing that Ganon would eventually break free of his bondage, the Sheikah developed shrines to test Link to prepare him for the final confrontation against Calamity Ganon. After 100 years, Link was finally revived thanks to the marvels of Sheikah technology. However, Link is suffering from memory loss as a side effect. As a contingency, someone, perhaps the Sheikah, placed the Sheikah Slate inside of the chamber to guide Link to eventually regain his dexterity and identity. The old man may already know this and is intentionally guiding Link so he can try to defeat Ganon. Perhaps this can also explain the state of the Master Sword. If Link attempted to take out Calamity Ganon in the past, but failed, perhaps the Master Sword became damaged as a result. When Link failed, perhaps the Sheikah, the old man, or Zelda stored the sword away. For 100 years, it would await Link's resurrection. Also notice the symbolism in the game. Eiji Aonuma wanted to redefine the conventions of Zelda, hence to give the Zelda franchise a rebirth or revival. And here we see Link literally being resurrected. But what about the Guardians? These are technological beasts allegedly constructed by the Sheikah. What purpose do they serve? If they are guardians, then what are they guarding? Outside of the Temple of Time, we see old guardians scattered about. Also, take a look at the surrounding ruins. It looks strikingly similar to the old Castletown found in Ocarina of Time. But notice that the Temple of Time stands almost completely intact. Were the guardians actually protecting the temple? What were they protecting against? Was it Ganon or something else? Perhaps the reason why they are hostile towards Link is vested out of some sort of a security protocol. And perhaps this also explains why Link is not wearing his hero's tunic anymore, because he already died prior to these 100 years. On a final note, in an interview with Eiji Aonuma, he revealed something rather fascinating about the game. He stated that users are able to go to the very end goal without revealing why Link woke up the way he did and where he did. Whether you want to reveal the storyline and find out why Link woke up, or you want to just go straight to the goal, that's an option totally up to the user. Perhaps in the Breath of the Wild, Link is trying to regain his memory all the while being conditioned by the Sheikah shrines and the old man to confront Calamity Ganon. Since 100 years ago, Link attempted to do so, but failed, leaving the Sheikah to defend Hyrule. Nonetheless, there are unresolved questions. If Link died, then how exactly did he suffer that fate? Also, what became of Princess Zelda? Is she the voice Link is hearing? Well, I suppose we have to wait until the game comes out to find out. Personally, I am not entirely sure when exactly Breath of the Wild takes place in the timeline. Currently, I subscribe to a placement in the adult timeline, but I have an open mind until Aonuma or someone in the Zelda team officially confirms a placement. Hope you enjoyed the theory, everyone. If you have any thoughts or theories of your own regarding this topic, then comment below, we would love to hear it. Our next theory is a pretty special one. This time it has something to do with the ruins scattered about in the Great Plateau. Can this tell us something about the overall Zelda timeline? Perhaps it could tell us a bit more about the Sheikah. Anyways, I enjoyed our time talking to you. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you're new. Pretty excited to see more Breath of the Wild footage. Apparently more news is coming in the coming months. Have loads of more videos on the topic coming in soon. Next time I'll be talking about the ruins found throughout the Great Plateau and the Breath of the Wild footage and how that correlates to the overall Zelda timeline in addition to the plot of the game itself. Also, if you would like to assist in the development of these kind of videos, then support us over at Patreon, and shout out to our patron Digital Carnage for helping out as well. Anyways, I have to be heading out now. I hope you all the best, have a relaxing rest of the day, and take care.